welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour, as you saw from our introduction, we are going to learn about Project 351. Why 351, you ask? Well, we'll find that out in a moment. But as I like to begin every episode, I would like to invite you to email me at talk@bcattv.org. Something brand new here. We are no longer able to take live call-ins, so if you do have a question, you'll just have to email it and we can answer off screen. But technology is a wonderful thing. Anyway, I would like to thank my crew for this evening. We have Evan McNamee, Noel Donahue, Gwyneth McNamee, and Christina Nikitas, who have all given up their Wednesday evening, and most of them during school vacation week, to come here to BCAT and help me out. So I really do appreciate their efforts. I would also like to thank Chris Flaherty and John Vias, who are staff members here, making sure that everything runs smoothly, making sure that, pretty much everything runs smoothly. So, housekeeping aside, and no more daddy date night because Gwyneth and Evan are now here. So my husband Paul gets to stay home and just enjoy some quiet. Now, our wonderful guests, we have Maddie Spreadbury and Akshara Dake. Okay, I should have asked you that before. My apologies. So thank you both for giving up an evening during your school vacation week to come and share with me the news about Project 351. So before we get into that, you guys get to decide who gets to go first. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, what grade you're in, what some of your interests, extracurriculars are, and then we will start talking about Project 351.
I'm Akshara Dake. I'm in grade 8. I love drawing. I play the flute. I love spending time with my friends.
Yay! Excellent. And Maddie, your turn.
I'm Maddie. I am a sophomore at Burlington High School, and I play volleyball and I do archery.
Archery? Yeah. Do they have archery at the high school?
No, they don't, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Now, since you're in high school,
yes.
Any idea about colleges yet?
Not on a specific college, but I want to go into forensic science when I'm older.
Oh, cool. That sounds very impressive. So anyway, let's talk about Project 351. What is Project 351, and where did they get the number 351?
So Project 351 is a nonprofit organization run through Massachusetts. It was created by Governor Deval Patrick back in, I believe, 2011.
Okay.
And so 351 stands for the 351 towns and cities in Massachusetts.
Wow.
So one ambassador, an 8th grade ambassador, is chosen every year from every town and city. Their administration from their middle school chooses them, and they lead service for one calendar year with Project 351.
Cool. How does the administration choose you guys? Is it just like a random, how about you? Or is there like an application process, or how does that work?
It's different for all towns, but in Burlington, I had to write an essay basically on what was my dream for community service, what qualities and skills do I have, and then like the principal and other people at the school decide and pick an essay.
Oh, wow.
And
do you know how many essays were written?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's
just curious what the competition might have been. Well, excellent. Now, they call the 8th graders ambassadors. Do you have any idea where that name came from, and what does it mean being an ambassador in the project? Any idea?
I don't know where like the name came from, but pretty much they're like the beginners in starting to help their community, and they're like throughout the year they're learning leadership skills, just like I did my ambassador year, to like you lead different service projects throughout the year, and that helps you gain leadership skills and gain like confidence.
Oh, okay. Well, then ambassador is probably like the UN ambassador or something where you're the representative. So
Yes.
well, that's cool. How do they teach you the leadership? Or actually, let's back up a little bit. Yeah, I need to follow the script. I'm sorry. I'm like the queen of tangents. What made each one of you or either one of you decide to become part of this project? You know, why were you motivated to write that essay?
Yeah, at the time, like, I didn't have much going on. I'm really interested in community service, you know, like helping the greater good. And I thought this would be a really good way to connect with other people with the same passion.
Oh, neat. How did they promote it in the school? Did they just say, hey, we're looking for people interested in community service? Or was last year's ambassador presenting at, like, what is it called? How'd you find out about it?
I found out about it through the morning announcements. I think
Oh,
Maddie
okay.
was on there.
I was.
Yeah.
Yes. I was the one that announced it for the morning announcements.
Told us a little bit about it.
Okay. What made you decide that you wanted to do it?
So back the year before, in like summer of 2020, end of my 7th grade year, I
Okay.
decided to do a fundraiser for Boston Children's Hospital.
Ooh, okay.
So I had been into like fundraising and community service, and I already had like stuff in my notes app on my phone of like future projects that I wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
So when I was called down to the office by Miss Purchase and the opportunity was brought up to me, I was already wicked excited for it and like wicked willing to do it.
Did you have to write an essay too, or is that
I
something
did
you-
not. I don't know what the process was.
Well, you
for
had the
me.
list already, so they're like, oh, sweet. So how much control do you have? Well, the ambassador part starts, it's calendar year, right? It's not
Yes.
school year. So, Shara, you just started.
Yeah.
When did you find out that you were chosen?
I found out like on the day right before Thanksgiving break was gonna happen.
Okay. So when
Yeah.
did you write the essay? Was it the beginning of this year or was it the end of last year?
I wrote it a few days before Thanksgiving break, and then on the day like right before Thanksgiving break.
So it was during your 8th grade year.
Yeah,
And you started January?
yeah, January. That's when like I started getting all the emails and
Okay.
started getting ready for the year.
And how did you have to get ready?
Well, there was some like forms to sign throughout. I got quite a lot of emails from Project 351.
Okay.
We had a lot of welcoming Zoom calls and stuff like that.
Zoom calls, your favorite. And okay, how did you get involved? Or what was the ramping up for when you?
Pretty much the same. A lot of
Pretty much the
emails.
same,
We
okay.
did.
Because that
a
was
lot of-
still COVID-ish.
It was.
years.
Yeah. So we didn't have an in-person launch like
Okay.
Akshara did. Our launch was virtual, pretty much just like a YouTube live stream. We all got our shirts. And yeah, so pretty much the same. A lot of emails from Project 351, a lot of Zoom calls,
Did you
Service
get to-
Leadership Academy calls.
Okay. Did you get to do anything in real life?
Not for the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So also my ambassador year didn't start in January.
Okay.
Mine started in like, I want to say March,
Oh, wow.
because they were a little pushed back because of COVID,
Okay.
because they had also started the year before COVID like shut down everything.
Right. Okay.
So they were everything was kind of pushed.
Okay.
So my year was pushed a little bit. So not almost cut short, but it started so
was
late.
Weird.
Yeah.
Like everything else. So, what was your orientation like? Because yours was in person, where Maddie's was virtual, like everything was that year. So,
It
where did you
was-
have to go for this? And did you meet everybody? Because 350 people is, or 351 is a lot to meet.
Yeah, we're a big group. It's like way more than 351 because you do have an ambassador in every town, but you also have like alumni and people regulating the whole thing, a lot of special guests as well. So it was a big event. We went to Faneuil Hall in Boston.
Ooh.
I took a bus there and I met like a bunch of people. I had like my own service team, and we did service throughout like different parts of Boston. Every group got assigned a different place to go to.
Oh.
I went to Cradles to Crayons in Boston.
I've heard great things about
Yeah.
that. How was your experience?
It was really great. We sorted out books, clothes, and a lot of other things for children in need.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a super huge event.
How big was your group that went to Cradles to Crayons?
It was about like 10 to 12 kids.
Okay, so it was manageable.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you have any choice in what group or where you went, or was it you are assigned to do this group?
No, it was like assigned
Okay.
just to get some variety, to meet new people in your circle. So
Had you known anybody from other towns before?
no.
So you're meeting lots of new
Yeah.
people. Excellent. So the project is learning community service or participating in community service. How much of your year, and I know Maddie will have to address this a little more, how much of your year is these are Project 351 service projects, and how much is the, hey, I want to do this on my list. Can I do this? How does that work?
So pretty much there is, I want to say like 5 different service projects that Project 351 puts out there, and it's like, hey, we're going to do this. You can take part, you can come to these calls and learn about it.
Okay.
You can do this in your own town and bring it to your community.
Oh, okay.
So you do those, like there is...
So you do the big one and then bring it back to Burlington?
No, so you only bring it to Burlington.
Oh,
So
okay.
like they do these Zoom calls, the Service Leadership Academy. I
Okay.
believe they're having their spring service one now, or they already did, for our clothing drive, which is next month.
Okay.
So they do all these calls. They say, here, this is like, here's all the information you need. Go contact people in Burlington. Like, go find a host site. Go like make posters. Like have
Like a
people.
checklist. This
yeah,
is
pretty
what
much.
you need to do.
Yeah.
So now go do
Yeah,
it.
because they want to have it in all 351 towns and cities. They want to have this going on.
Okay. Does it have to happen like at the same time?
Yes, because then you have, so when we collect the clothes for Cradles to Crayons next month, there is drop-off locations. You have to drop them off at a specific time. They're based on your region. Now, we're broken up into, I want to say, 15 different regions, and so Burlington's in Region 9. So there'll be a Region 9, potentially 10, because Region 9 and 10 are kind of small, so normally we merge for different things.
Oh, okay.
And we'll have our own
Drive.
drop-off location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll all have our separate drives. Like I'm doing one at the high school next month.
Okay.
And so we will all come together at this location and we'll bring all of our clothes that we donated, and someone will take them. Normally for spring service, there's a Cradles to Crayon like bin there, and we all just drop them off. It was at a school last year. I'm not 100% sure where, but yeah, so we all just go, we drop off our clothes, and that's it.
But you're an alumni.
Yes.
Akshara is currently in the program. You're a current ambassador. Are you also doing a Cradles to Crayons?
Yeah, I'm doing it at the middle school.
Oh, okay. So how does this work? Do you get to keep going for as long as you want?
Yeah,
Or
so
are
there,
you like,
there are certain alums. There's an alum from like 2011 that's still in the program, and they still
Cool.
help out. Yeah, they still come to all
they
the calls.
probably
they help
graduated
out.
from like grad school?
Yeah. But like for me, I choose to keep doing this, and I was the first alumna in Burlington to bring it up to the high school.
Oh,
I was
okay.
informed by Mr. Sullivan because him and Miss Purchase have been so helpful in helping me bring it up to the high school.
Oh,
Because
cool.
I've done a clothing drive there, and I did my toy drive in December.
Okay, I want to talk about the toy drive
Yes.
in a minute. But you mentioned the drop-off boxes. As an ambassador, do you have to reach out to Cradles to Crayons and say, on this date, I need a drop-off box at Marshall Simons, or how much do you have to do versus how much will Project 351 advisors do? How do they break up? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they just so Project 351, we have calls, they like send us emails, they try to help us out and tell us exactly what we need to do. And now I got permission from Ms. Purchase to do the spring service at our middle school, so I'll be putting bins there and just like for about 2 weeks or so, letting people donate and spreading the word out.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure where to go from there, but I think that's where Cradles to Crayons will be incorporated because they have to accept my quotes.
And how do you plan on marketing all of this? Just through morning announcements, or are there other avenues to promote?
Yeah,
Either one of you can answer this, because this is your first project, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I informed Miss Purchase. I think I'll be handing out like stickers or candies to people
Okay.
who donate, and I'll just like spread it on social media and stuff to get the word out.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, my method's normally social media. I normally make a flyer and I'll email it to a ton of my teachers. I'll be like, hey, can you print this out and put this on your door for me?
Okay.
I like to use the morning announcements a lot. That's always a really good option. Because at the high school, we have this thing called the Daily Bulletin. It's just like a Google Doc that's sent out to all the students
Okay.
with the morning announcements in case you miss them. So normally, like, my flyer will be put on there. Like, the information will be on there.
Neat. Now, is there an equivalent at the middle school, or no?
No.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so.
It's been a long time since I was in middle school. Okay.
Yeah, and then normally I'll print out a ton of my flyers, bring them around the school, tape them up on the walls.
Here. I'll give you a sticker if you promote this. In addition to giving you that checklist of things you need for a clothing drive or a toy drive, how does the leadership component work into that? Is it just by default, or do they provide lectures or classes or articles to build good leadership skills? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
For the most part, it's by default. They give you like the Service Leadership Academy calls where they give you all of this information and they give you like helpful tips. So my ambassador year, what I did was I had bins everywhere, literally everywhere. So I had bins at all 4 of the elementary schools and at the middle school.
Okay.
So at the elementary schools, I was like, I had a spreadsheet and I was like, can you write down your name in your homeroom if you donate, like if one of the students donates? And what I did was I emailed with the founder of Project 351, Carolyn Casey, and she helped me make this certificate. So I made certificates for all the elementary students who donated, so then when they came back to school the next week, they had something for helping others.
Okay. Leadership Academy?
Yes, Service Leadership Academy.
Service Leadership Academy. What is that? Tell me more about that, either of you.
SLA, I just had SLA last month. We call it SLA. It's like
because we love acronyms.
3 or 4 Zoom calls where like the Project 351 people and special guests, like for example, the Shamrock Foundation of Celtics got to be with us for a few lessons on Zoom. And they just like, we learned different things like how to be kind, embracing love, and like even some information about spring service, just like really informational calls.
Okay.
With everyone involved in Project 351.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking project management is huge. And people go to college for it, and it takes them like 4 years to learn it. And here you are, 14 years old, and it's like, okay, here, have a project. I'm just thinking, how do they not set you up? How do they set you up for success?
They pretty much give you all the tools you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the website mentions being school-based. Is that like you are just working within the high school or the middle school, or is it academically based as opposed to working with the library or
Well, you can really put your host site wherever you want. Like you could have a
Okay.
host site at the library. I know one of my friends from a different town had something at her library. Like you can put host sites wherever they'll let you have
okay.
a bin. I know someone else has it at their church. So you can really do it wherever you want. I think more school-based means that you are chosen by the administration at the middle school.
Oh, okay.
And that's normally where you'll have your host site.
Okay. And how much of the work is during the school day, like the morning announcements, versus after school versus weekends? Like, when are all these Zoom calls, and what about like going to Cradles to Crayons when you had the launch? Was that during school or was that a weekend? And how do you find time for all of this?
Launch day was on a weekend, and most of the calls that we have, Zoom calls with Project 351, are in the evenings and after school. So there's not really much to manage, and if you're really busy, they always send you call recordings, call recaps. So
Oh,
much
okay.
information is sent through emails. So it's really flexible when you're managing your time.
And are you, based on all of your extracurricular activities, are you finding yourself having enough time to balance everything?
Yeah.
Cool. How frequent? So you mentioned the launch day. You mentioned Cradles to Crayons is about to, I don't want to use the word launch again, but it's about to happen.
Yes.
How often are these big events? Is it a monthly thing? Is it a quarterly thing? How does...
So our spring service is normally March to April, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And then
Cradles to Crayons is considered that spring service?
Yeah, Spring Service Clothing
Okay.
Drive partnered with Cradles to Crayons. And so then our Hope and Gratitude Walk, I didn't do it last year, but I believe my ambassador year was in June.
Okay.
And then we do 9/11 Tribute, which is around 9/11, so September.
Okay.
And then the Alumni Toy Drive is in December.
Okay.
Just kind of spread out throughout the year.
So let's talk about those a little bit more. We kind of already talked about Cradles to Crayons.
Yep.
Now, is it always a Cradles to Crayons partnership in the spring?
That's what it has been for the last couple years.
Okay. Is there anything you want to mention about it now? For like a launch date? We have a captive audience here. Or is it just like, are we done?
It's a really big thing. Like, it's such a big celebration, kickoff.
Okay. Now, after you do all the local collections, will you, like you did for your launch, will the Project 351 ambassadors go back to Cradles to Crayons and do all the sorting, or?
So we do all the sorting on our own with our quality sorts.
Oh,
So
okay. Wait, what's a quality sort?
pretty much we go through the clothes, we look if they have stains, if they have holes.
Okay.
We don't want to send those to Cradles to Crayons. We want to make sure that these kids are having the best quality clothes that they can have.
Okay. Now you're mentioning we. Here's where I
Yes.
come in with all the tangents. Who are we?
Project 351, leadership teams, Burlington, just the whole
Okay.
community.
Do you form your own like local team, or do like the Project 351 people come in from everywhere, or a little bit of both?
So
or-
me personally, I made my own team. I had some of my friends that I reached out to during one of the school days back my ambassador year, and I was like, hey, do you want to come help me out with this? I think like you'd be a great part of my team. And they were like, yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity. So after school one day, we were in the middle school and we just went through all of the clothes together. And then any of the clothes that aren't as suitable, we brought to a secondary organization.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And if
Of
it
our
was-
choosing.
Of your
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because I was wondering if you have to do Cradles to Crayons, how much decision making do you guys get to do on any of the projects? Like you had mentioned, you already had a list of all these service projects that you wanted to do. Were you able to do any of them as part of Project 351, or?
So I never ended out, I wanted to bring it up to the founder and be like, can we almost sponsor this with Project 351? I never
Okay.
ended up getting the chance to. I mean, I obviously still have the chance to
Right.
this year whenever I keep
But
being
you had a
an
funky
alum.
year during.
That's
yeah.
very true.
You were in the middle of a global pandemic. When you were, not too many people can say that. Oh my
You definitely
goodness.
have a lot of choice when you get to like your 9/11 tribute service drive.
Okay.
Because that one, my ambassador year, I did an item drive for the, Massachusetts Military Heroes Fund. I
How'd
did
you
an
find out
item
about that?
drive,
I've never
Project
heard of
351.
Oh, okay.
They
Of
give you a
course.
lot of organizations to work with.
Oh, okay.
And then this past year, I partnered with the Burlington High School volleyball teams, and
Okay.
so we made posters, and some girls brought in some baked goods, and I brought them to the Burlington fire and police stations.
Cool. All right. So let's get back to the Hope and Gratitude Walk.
Yes.
What is the Hope and Gratitude Walk?
So pretty much,
I'm
ambassadors.
sorry, I don't mean to be ignoring you. I'm just like,
So pretty much, ambassadors can lead these walks in their towns, and I'm not 100% sure where fundraising goes because I did not do a fundraiser with it my ambassador
Okay.
year. Pretty much, me and my leadership team, we walked 3.51 miles. And
gee,
we
I
had-
wonder where you got that number.
and so we had posted about it on social media, and I know there was someone, I believe Newton, they gathered a lot of people and did like a community walk
Oh,
together.
okay.
Yes.
So you did this in Burlington.
Yes.
Did you have to work with like the police department to say this is the path we're walking, make sure we don't get run over by any cars, or how'd you figure out the 3.51 miles?
Pretty much, we just walked around my neighborhood and neighborhoods around us until my watch said 3.51 miles.
Technology, I love it. Yeah, I don't think I know how to work that on my phone. 9/11 tribute
Yes.
is obviously recognizing September 11th, 2001, which you guys weren't even born yet. What guidelines are given to you to determine your project?
So
Are there guidelines?
there isn't a lot of guidelines for this. You have a lot of freedom with this project, and pretty much just show gratitude for either like the fire and police stations in your hometown, or do something for the Massachusetts Military Heroes Fund.
Okay.
So yeah, you
And
have
then
a lot of
what
freedom.
you do, are there restrictions at
Not
all?
that I know of. Not that I
Okay.
know of. Because you can either, so at least from what I remember, you could do gratitude for your local police and fire stations. You can do the Massachusetts Military Heroes Fund. And the third option, I believe, was for the families of
Okay.
9/11 victims. And
Okay.
so, like, there were some people who painted rocks with, like, some of the
Okay.
people's names on them. So that was always really cool to see on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next? There's something called the Fall Service Leadership Academy. Now, there's also a Spring Leadership Service Academy. How are those different? Is it just one's in the fall and one's in the spring? And is it a virtual thing? Is it an in-person thing? What
So
happens at the leadership academies? I know you probably just
pretty
told me
much
this
that's the
too.
Zoom calls. That's all the Zoom calls. And so pretty much
Okay.
the spring one is normally about your clothing drive, and then the fall is about 9/11 tribute service,
Okay.
along with the ambassador's campaign to end hunger.
Okay. Tell me more about the campaign to end hunger.
So I unfortunately did not participate in that one, so I don't have
Okay.
a lot of information about it, but I remember ambassadors work their local food pantries,
Okay.
and pretty much did like the clothing drive, like the toy drives and everything, had an item bin, a donation bin where
Okay.
people could donate.
Cool. Okay. I wasn't sure if like all of a sudden you had to go on a hunger strike or something to prove a point. So I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Um, Graduation. Well, obviously you decided to go to Project 351 grad school, but what happens at the end of the year, at the end of the calendar year, as well as the end of your ambassador?
So
year?
that's normally when the ambassador campaign to hunger is. And I
Okay.
believe we had one last like Zoom call pretty much to celebrate the year with all of
Okay.
the almost mentors that we had throughout the year. We all came together and just celebrated the class of, for me, 2021, for Akshara, it would be class of 2023.
Okay. So, what? I feel like you've been doing a lot of talking. Poor Akshara, you know. What do you hope to accomplish this year? You said you were interested in community service. Is knowing what you've already experienced, is this something that you're going to enjoy doing? And what are you looking forward to the most about participating?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to meeting new people, creating, the strong bonds. I'm really hoping to make an impact. That's what Project 351 is all about. I really want to just make a marking and just do something to help others.
What are you looking forward to with the Cradles to Crayons?
I'm hoping to get a lot of donations. I think
Okay.
that's the big thing.
Do you do it by weight, by piece? Just how do you measure success, or how do you hope to measure success?
I just want a good amount of people to donate. I want to spread the word about clothing insecurity because it really is a big issue that we're having.
Now, do you find that Burlington also experiences clothing insecurity?
I think they do. That's why I feel like it would be a good way to just give something to help Cradles to Crayons fight
you-
off that.
Have you thought about developing your own local team similar to Maddie asked some friends? Or are you going to kind of just base it on the Project 351 connections that you have? Or you're not sure yet?
I'm not really sure yet. I do rely a lot on my Service Hero team, which is a bunch of other ambassadors from other towns, and that's led by an alumni.
Okay, and is that team what you were mentioning about the regions, like Region 9, or
So service teams are normally 5 or 6 different ambassadors from different regions.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that you might want to make it local so you can actually see these people, but
Yeah, I think they try to get a very big variety.
oh. Now, do you have a service team yet?
Yeah.
Where are they from? Do you remember any of the towns?
Arlington, I think. Maybe Cape Cod?
Oh,
Not
wow.
sure.
Okay. That's far.
Yeah.
Do you ever, so we mentioned working in teams. Do you have the opportunity to work as individuals?
Most of the work we do is individual.
Are there opportunities where everybody from Project 351 gets together? Well, you mentioned Faneuil Hall, but at the end of the year, is there a recognition where everybody gets together, or during the summer, because you said it was kind of quiet as far as projects go?
So there was a leadership reunion over the summer,
Okay.
and so everyone went to Gillette Stadium for that.
And you probably filled Gillette Stadium.
Maybe.
Neat! I'm wondering what challenge, and I know it's still kind of early in your year, but working with a team of people requires, yes, you're learning leadership skills, yes, you're learning community service, but I'm realizing in my life now that there are a lot of opportunities or a lot of requirements for interpersonal skills. and working with different people with different opinions and different styles. Have you encountered this at all? And if you have, are you given the skills to work with a diverse community of people?
It's like a bunch of people that share the same passion with me.
Okay.
So I feel like it's a very safe space for me to gain more confidence because
Okay.
I personally can be on the quieter side. So that's
Okay.
why I feel like Project 351 helps me be more confident, be more extrovert, like,
Okay.
balanced. So that helps me speak up in other places
And
like
appear on
school,
television,
communities. Yeah.
Sorry. Cool. What have your experiences been?
Overall, with like working with my leadership team and even Region 9 did a like beach cleanup at one point last year, and like we all
Okay.
had to work together for that in Gloucester. Like just working with other people is such a fun experience. None of us really have
Okay.
like varying ideas.
Okay, because I'm thinking if you all want to be leaders,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to be a follower.
We all learn to eventually like mesh well together and
Okay.
work well together because we all want the same outcome. We all just want someone's life
Okay.
to, we all just want to help someone.
Okay.
And doesn't matter who, we just want to help someone in our
Okay.
community and in this world. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there other, tell me more about the alumni organization.
so
So how much control, do you still participate in the Zoom calls, or do they just give you the list and say, okay, you've already been through the training, keep going?
So you can still go to the Zoom calls. With my schedule, it's been conflicting times, so I haven't been able to go to them. So I watch the call recaps sometimes.
Okay.
And you still have the opportunity to do like the Cradles to Crayon Drive, the 9/11 Tribute Drive, even though those are technically ambassador-run drives.
Okay.
We still have the opportunity to run them ourselves, which is why I brought it up to the high school because I wanted to
Okay.
keep going with it. And then we do our own toy drive at the end of the year in December.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
So this past December, I did a toy drive for Debbie's Treasure Chest, and so
Never heard of them.
yeah. So Debbie's Treasure Chest provides aid and resources for low-income and disadvantaged children and families in like the Merrimack Valley.
Oh, okay.
So we worked with them, and we partnered with the New England Patriots and WBZ-TV
Okay.
to pretty much spread this. And
Did you get to meet any of the any of the New England Patriots?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
So pretty much.
You can dream.
Pretty much we just ran a normal drive like we would the clothing drive, like the 9/11 drive. Had a bin at the high school. We got an overwhelming amount of toys this year. We got a lot. And yeah.
Do you get to go bring them to, is it Debbie's Treasure Chest?
So me personally, I did not get to go,
Okay.
but I met up with a few people from Region 9 and Region 10, the
Okay.
alums, and we all brought our toys together, loaded them in one of the alumni's cars, and he drove them to Debbie's Treasure Chest the next morning.
'Cause as you were telling me that, I'm thinking, so who's got the SUV?
Yep.
You know, for either the Cradles to Crayons clothing drive or the toy drive, or need vehicles.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Knowing what you have experienced in your whole, in your initial year and even now as an alum. Forgot my question. How has your experience been? Would you still do it again? Would you have done it differently? What would you like to see happen?
So me, I would personally do it all over again if I could. It is so fun to meet new people from your region and go to different places and do all these drives knowing that you're making a difference in someone's life is just, it's so fun for me. And I would do this every single year if I could. And I'm gonna keep being an alum. Like, it's so much
Cool.
fun. And I
We'll
just
work
hope
for a t-shirt.
I just hope that Project 351, like in the future, in Burlington especially is still, like, the ambassadors and the alumni are still going and keep wanting to help others.
Okay.
Because I feel like Burlington, we definitely have it out there, but I feel like at the high school, we definitely get people to donate, but it's definitely not as much as like the middle school was.
Okay.
Like, I feel like getting the word out there is the best thing that we can do for it. And I feel
Okay.
like having our community know that this is an option and like we have these drives out here for you to help and for you to donate, it's definitely a big part.
Okay. How have your experiences been in the past 2 months?
They've been pretty good.
Okay.
Like, launch day was super fun. I'm really excited to start with spring service. It's all like a beginning that I'm really looking forward to.
Cool. Do you guys have any like amazing stories or interesting people that you've met? And
I definitely think two people that I would like love to highlight: Charlie Rose, who is the chair director for Project 351.
okay,
He-
the only Charlie Rose I know is like the guy that was on PBS with his own talk show. That's not the same Charlie Rose, I hope.
No, I don't know.
I don't think so. Okay, tell me more about Charlie.
So he is
Mr.
in
Rose.
most of the SLA calls, especially like all of mine when I was an ambassador.
SLA is
Service Leadership
Service
Academy,
Leadership.
yes.
Okay, I'm like
So he's definitely a big part of the calls. He's always very supportive of everyone's drives. He always wants to see everyone have successful drives and just success in wanting to help others. And his inspiration is just incredible when you listen to him on these calls. And another person is Warda Ahmed, who was my alumni from my service team back when I was an ambassador.
Oh, okay.
She definitely pushed me to want to keep going with these drives. In the beginning, I was definitely unsure because it was all like a big thing. It was like, it's obviously a huge nonprofit organization. I didn't really know what it was all about at first. And
Okay.
so we have separate calls with our service teams, and she would always be like, hey, like, let's try doing this. Like, and we had these challenges every week that we had to try to do. Like,
Okay, tell me more about these challenges.
yeah, so she had these like almost kindness challenges that we had to do.
Okay.
Like simple things like holding a door open for someone, complimenting someone, like, and just that, it like boosted confidence just by having a conversation with someone else.
Okay.
And definitely helped you, like, because especially when you're like emailing all of these people, like you're emailing principals, you're emailing literally everyone, and so you need this confidence and these leadership skills to be able to put yourself out there and do this,
Okay.
because sometimes you're going to get the success and you're going to get the yes answer that you want, but there are also some times where you may get rejection where they're going to be like, no, sorry, we're not going to be a part of that.
Right.
I know, it's always
Oh
a
my gosh.
possibility though.
How can you say no?
But yeah.
I had another question, and I'm totally forget. Oh, yes, you were talking about, communication with advisors or mentors. Is there like an open door policy where anytime you're working on something and you have a problem, can you reach out to them at a different time, or do you have to wait for a scheduled call or a group meeting? And how does all that communication work?
So for me, I always, especially my ambassador year, I brought up how Carolyn Casey, the founder, I worked with her on those certificates. She
Okay.
was very, very willing to help me with them. I emailed her and right away got a response within a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
She was very, very willing to help me with it, which was always great. You always have your service team you can reach out to. I became pretty good friends with a few of the people in my service team. And just the alums in your region and the other ambassadors, they're always there to help you if you need support. And then you also have your advisors like Miss Purchase at the middle school, who is always
Okay.
willing to help you and bounce ideas off of you and just be someone to talk to about it.
Cool. Now, you mentioned printing the certificates, and it finally clicked in my head. Printing.
Yes.
Do you get to print it at the school, or do you have to like do it on your own laptop at home and
So
destroy your?
the school always lets you print stuff, luckily. I think my ambassador year I did print most of my stuff at home, but then now at the high school I'm using the school printer to my advantage.
Because I'm thinking, okay, you want to do a flyer to like everybody in the school.
Oh yeah.
And if this is color, or
Yep.
even if it's black and white, that's a lot of ink.
It is. Yeah.
So, when you do these flyers, Okay, I'm winging it now. Are there guidelines, like, is there a logo that you have to use, or are there logos that you can't use? Like if you decide to, I don't know, make T-shirts for your team, do you have to get like permission saying, oh, you're not allowed to use that logo? Or
So, at least for the clothing drive,
Uh-huh.
normally Project 351 will send out like a slideshow of different decals and stuff that you can
Oh.
use on your flyers and your
Okay.
boxes and everything. They normally encourage you to put the Project 351 logo because then everyone knows what it
Everybody knows
is.
about it. Okay.
I normally like to include the Cradles to Crayons logo or whatever organization I'm working with, just so people know this is the cause that it's going to. Like, this is
All right.
who you're helping. There's normally no guidelines. I just always put like contact information,
Okay.
and then I put like the items obviously that we're looking for.
Okay. Speaking of contact information,
Yes.
in our correspondence earlier, you had mentioned that you created a Burlington email address.
I did.
Does that get handed down to the ambassadors each year, or is that just for
So yes,
your work?
I'm working on that, yes.
You're working on that. Okay. What? I'm looking at my last couple of questions because we still have about 10 minutes left. I think I already asked this, but let me just read it from here in case it's different. Knowing what you know now and having experienced as an ambassador, what are your biggest takeaways?
That being able to just help one person is so like almost life-changing. Like just being able to say, yeah, I did this drive, I'm helping these people, and just knowing that what you're doing is making a difference in someone's life is everything. It's just everything.
Now, do you see the direct results of have you seen the direct results of your work?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
Not
Okay.
personally. No.
I'm just wondering. But when
Yeah.
you went to Cradles to Crayons, did you go as well?
I did not, no.
You did not. When you went to Cradles to Crayons, were you given the opportunity to learn more about the organization and all of the outreach that they do, or were you just kind of focused on the project at hand?
We got to know a lot about the Project 351 like connection to Cradles to Crayons, because Cradles to Crayons has like a big collaboration with Project 351. We got to meet a lot of the workers that worked at the organization. It's nonprofit. It really focuses on helping children 0 to 12 because there's a lot of needy children, like whether it's like having warm clothes or having toys, books, hats, shoes, anything. Like the Cradles to Crayons organization really helps with that. And when I was there, we got to help serve with them, and I feel like we learned a lot from that and what they do for a living.
Okay. Yeah, that must be like really meaningful, seeing that they've dedicated their lives to service to others.
Yeah.
Whether or not you end up doing that, but there is that component. With you said there was a food drive, right?
Yes.
Okay. Does that go to local food pantries, or is that like
I believe so,
Boston?
yes.
And are you able, as an ambassador or as an alum to Project 351, are you allowed to do service in addition to the projects outlined? Like if you wanted to just volunteer at Burlington Food Pantry, could you do that as a representative of Project 351, or would you just do it as Akshara and Maddie, who happen to be local students? Do you know?
So I'm not sure if you're supposed to say you're from Project 351. Project 351 definitely encourage you to help out and volunteer as much as you can just to help others.
I love it. What you're going to have to think a little further ahead than Maddie, but by the time the two of you graduate from high school, where do you hope to be with your community service, and where would you like to see Project 351, both as a state as well as here in Burlington?
I really hope to see that Project 351 continues to grow a bigger community, and it continues to encourage service. I really hope that they encourage us ambassadors more and more as the years go on. I hope that doesn't wear out. I hope that I will continue to do service even after Project 351.
I mean, honestly, same. Just knowing that Burlington and Project 351 continues to grow and service continues to happen is just the most important piece of it. Just knowing that Burlington and Project 351 are still willing to help others is all of it. And I would love to still be doing Project 351 by the time I graduate high school. I mean, that's not that far. I would love to keep doing it even in college, at least just joining the calls, even donating to Project 351, just still helping.
Okay. Or if you go out of state, you can't really start your own chapter out there because it's not Massachusetts, but still that community. What about your leadership skills? Do you feel that participating in Project 351 has better prepared you academically, socially, looks great on a resume for jobs or college? Have you seen any of that evidence? I mean, I realize that you're kind of new at this whole thing. Maybe I should have you guys come back on in September. Have you found the leadership skills being of value? Not just the community service aspect, but
definitely
knowing how to do project management, and has it already been impacting your schoolwork and time management and all that kind of fun stuff?
Especially time management, because they give you a timeline for, let's say the clothing drive coming up. They give you 2 weeks to hold the drive, and then they say this is the weekend that we're gonna drop everything off.
Okay.
So definitely time management. I think overall, when you start your year and you look at the schedule, it looks intimidating. It looks really intimidating because you're told that you're leading these drives by yourself or with your leadership team or with, let's say, Miss Purchase, because she helps so much. You're leading these drives pretty much on your own. You have to set everything up. You have to reach 14? Out. You're reaching out on your own to all of these places, and you are just set out. And I definitely think by the time that I reached the 9/11 tribute service at the end of the year, my leadership skills were, and my confidence in itself were just so much better, because at that point I had led my clothing drive, I had done my Hope and Gratitude Walk, I had been with people from my region and done all these calls, and I had talked to one of the founders of Project 351.
That's really cool.
And she helped me. It's definitely, by the time the year goes on, leadership skills and confidence grows, and that definitely just helps you in the long run.
Okay. One more question, just out of curiosity. I have a little competitive streak in me. And I'm just wondering if competition enters any of those projects where it's we collected more food for our food drive than you did in Wilmington, I don't know, or, Worcester or something. Do you ever, compare to other towns?
Normally, no.
Normally, no. Okay. Well, you just said, okay, yeah, that is fair, because it's okay, we're in this for the greater good. We don't have the little competitions, but just kind of.
We do get a final number of all of everyone in Massachusetts, but we don't normally compare between towns. No.
Okay. Now, do you find a whole list, or do you just say Burlington performed you know, Burlington collected 800 pounds of food.
So normally we get a Google form sent out to us after every drive that we lead, and it
Okay.
asks us how many bags of clothing did you donate, or how many toys did you get, how many
Okay.
items did you get, and normally they just ask for a number, you put that in, and then they tally it up with everyone else.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else you want to add? Because we have like 2 minutes left. This is your time to shine. And actually, sitting here at BCAT, I'm thinking, you know, if you wanted to spread the word, you could always work with the staff here and come up with PSAs. Or I know that in the high school club works with the journalism club for, is it morning announcements or weekly announcement, or they do something at the high school.
I believe the Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate,
Yes.
that's what it is. You know, you could produce like a little PSA and kind
That's
of
true.
sneak it in there, because, you know, it's another great resource for you.
Definitely.
And it sounds like, and I think I asked this already, but if you had to do this whole thing again, would you have done anything differently?
I don't think so. I think my ambassador year with my clothing drive, I was a little ambitious with the amount of bins and schools that I was having them at.
Okay.
Because I did all 4 elementary schools and the middle school.
So that's 5 bins.
Yes.
And
It
how
was a
often
lot.
did you have to, like, is it just a start at the beginning of those 2 weeks and at the end of the 2 weeks come and get it?
So for
or-
me, I normally like to run them during 1 week, because
Okay.
2 weeks is
A
a
lot.
lot, and then you normally have to go check the bin, take out clothes if they're overflowing, like.
Okay.
So I normally like to keep it a week. I drop it off Monday morning before school, pick it up Friday after school,
Okay.
and then I would sort the clothing over the weekend. But I definitely think that would be the only thing that I would change, just maybe not having as many bins to check.
Yeah. I think your parents might appreciate that
Oh,
too,
yeah,
because,
definitely.
you know,
They
8th
drove
graders
everywhere.
don't drive. So it's like, Mom, guess what? So, all right. Well, you know, thank you guys so much. I'm really inspired, you know, because I don't remember them having this stuff when I was in middle school or high school. And it's so great to see your interest and your passion in building that sense of community and having that desire for service. So thank you for your service to Project 351, and thank you for coming and joining me tonight. And I do want to thank everyone at home for tuning in this evening. I hope you are as inspired by our Burlington youth as I have been, and hopefully you will continue to support Project 351. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you around town. Good night.